Part 1. The mask people wear. You already carry more understanding than you realize. The problem isn't that you lack the ability to read people, it's that nobody ever taught you where to look. Nietzsche spent his life studying human behavior, and what he found wasn't flattering. People are not who they appear to be, not because they are dishonest, but because survival taught them to perform. This video breaks down his 18 most powerful psychological truths, and we redoing it in 3 parts, each one building on the last. Don't skip ahead. The real value isn't in the list, it's in the depth. By the time we reach truth 1-8, you won't just see others more clearly, you will see yourself differently too. Truth 1. Everyone is wearing armor, not a face. From the moment we reborn, we learn what gets us accepted and what gets us rejected. Over time, we build a version of ourselves designed to survive, not to be known. The overly cheerful person, often terrified of being disliked. The one who seems untouchable, probably the most afraid of being hurt. Nietzsche wrote, "Every profound spirit needs a mask." He wasn't being cynical, he was being precise. The mask isn't a lie, it's a shield. And the first crack in it shows up as discomfort. Watch what makes someone uneasy. That's where the real person starts. Truth 2. What irritates someone about others is what they running from themselves. This is projection, and Nietzsche understood it long before modern psychology had a name for it. The person who never stops calling others arrogant, quietly afraid they not good enough. The one obsessed with pointing out other people's dishonesty, probably avoiding a truth they haven't faced in the mirror. We don't hate what's foreign to us, we hate what's familiar. So instead of watching what someone admires, watch what they attack. That's the map to what they hiding. Truth 3. Silence speaks first. Nietzsche was suspicious of language. He believed most words weren't used to reveal truth, they were used to dodge it. Pay attention to the pause before an answer. The subject that quietly gets changed. The short, rehearsed reply to a genuine question. That's not emptiness, that's someone protecting something they not ready to name. Silence isn't the absence of communication, it's often the loudest part. Truth 4. Loud virtue is usually a disguise. Be careful of the person who announces their goodness the most, the one always correcting others, always making sure you know how moral they are. Nietzsche called this the will to power in disguise. Sometimes morality isn't about ethics, it's about superiority. The louder someone preaches, the more likely they reusing virtue as a wall to hide behind. Genuine goodness doesn't require an audience. Truth 5. People don't lie to you first, they lie to themselves. When someone tells you, "I am fine," and clearly isn't, they not trying to fool you, they already fooled themselves. Nietzsche saw self-deception not as malice but as self-preservation. People build internal stories that let them keep functioning through pain. So when someone's words and behavior don't match, don't assume manipulation, assume survival. The inconsistency isn't betrayal, it's evidence. And that's exactly where the truth hides. Truth 6. Superiority is often inferiority in a costume. The person who constantly reminds you of their achievements is afraid you won't notice them if they stop. The one who puts others down casually is terrified of being overlooked. Real confidence doesn't compete. It doesn't need to, it simply exists. Whenever someone needs to dominate a room, control a conversation, or make sure they always winning, look past the performance. Behind the crown, you will almost always find someone who never felt like enough. These first 6 truths aren't tools for judgment, they tools for understanding. When you see the fear behind the interruption, the wound behind the arrogance, the cry behind the performance, something shifts. You stop being irritated by people. You start seeing them. That's what Nietzsche actually wanted. Not for you to expose others, for you to stop being fooled by surfaces, and start making real contact with what's underneath. Drop a comment. Which of these first 6 hit closest to home? And stay with me, because in part 2, we go deeper into the places where the mask begins to crack. Part 2. Where the mask starts to crack. It's one thing to know people wear masks, it's another to watch one slip. We've seen it. The flicker of something real when someone's pushed too far. The shift in tone when a topic cuts too close. The laugh that doesn't match the eyes. These aren't accidents, they reopenings. And Nietzsche believed that the self isn't a fixed thing, it's a role people rehearse. The moment that role is threatened, something true leaks out. Truth 7. Most behavior is fear in disguise. Why does someone explain? Why do they disappear when things get real? Why do they agree to things they clearly don't want? It's rarely about the thing itself. It's about what they afraid of losing: approval, connection, safety, status. Nietzsche understood that humans almost never act from pure desire. We act from the fear of loss. So when you trying to understand someone, stop asking what do they want? Start asking what are they terrified of losing? That question gets you to the truth 10 times faster. Truth 8. Repeated criticism is a confession. When someone constantly criticizes a specific type of person or behavior, they not just describing the world, they describing themselves. The man who mocks emotional people is usually drowning in feelings he doesn't know how to handle. The woman who endlessly judges how others look is likely fighting a war with her own reflection. Projection is a defense mechanism, but it's also a confession. If you listen to what someone attacks most often, you hearing exactly where their deepest pain lies. Truth 9. Overconfidence often hides guilt. You met this person, always composed, always certain, never wrong. But watch long enough and you notice the over-preparation, the defensiveness under light pressure, the jaw that tightens when they challenged. Nietzsche observed this in leaders, teachers, public figures, those who perform certainty because doubt feels like exposure. Sometimes chronic confidence isn't strength, it's guilt wearing a sharp suit. Real peace doesn't need to perform. When someone seems too certain, don't be intimidated. Be curious. Truth 10. Exaggeration exposes what someone is trying to silence. I genuinely don't care what people think. I am literally always happy. Nothing bothers me. The more absolute the statement, the less true it usually is. Exaggeration is the ego turning up the volume to drown out doubt. Nietzsche believed extremism in any direction, not just political, but emotional, signals imbalance, not strength. So when you hear a statement that sounds too clean, too absolute, don't take it at face value. Ask yourself, what is this person trying so hard not to feel? Truth 11. The need to control everything comes from inner chaos. Some people can't let things be. They micromanage. They dominate conversations. They can't handle unpredictability. Nietzsche saw this clearly. When the inner world is chaotic, the outer world must be controlled obsessively. It's not power, it's panic. The tighter someone grips their environment, the more frightened they are of what happens when they let go. So instead of seeing the controlling person as a threat, see them as someone who hasn't found safety yet. Truth 12. The louder the performance, the emptier the center. This one hits differently in the age of social media. The endless highlight reels, the perfectly curated identity, the constant need to be witnessed. Nietzsche wouldn't see this as confidence. He see it as desperation. When someone performs constantly, it's because they don't believe they'll be valued without the show. The person who truly knows who they are doesn't need applause. They already whole. So when someone's life looks like a performance, it's not a display of power. It's a quiet signal of need. You starting to see the pattern now. The interruptions, the boosting, the control, the noise, none of it is random. All of it is speaking. And once you learn the language, you can't unhear it. But knowing how to read the behavior is only part of it. In the final part, we go to the root, the childhood wounds, the buried grief, the unspoken desires that quietly run everything. Part 3 is where it all comes together. Part 3, the soul beneath the surface. By now, something in the way you see people has changed. You not just hearing words anymore, you tracking patterns. But patterns don't start in adulthood, they start in childhood. And the final 6 truths are about understanding where these patterns come from, and what they still trying to protect. Truth 13, nobody argues from logic, they argue from pain. Think about the people in your life with the hardest, most rigid views. They don't hold those views because they reason their way there. They hold them because something happened that made those beliefs feel necessary. Love isn't real. Translated, I loved someone completely and it destroyed me. You can't trust anyone. Translated, the person I trusted most let me down. Nietzsche believed every worldview is really a wound wearing intellectual clothing. So when someone's opinion feels like an attack, remember, it started as a defense. Once you see that, you stop arguing back and start listening differently. Truth 14, how someone treats weakness reveals everything. Don't judge a person by how they treat the powerful. Anyone can be polite to someone who can help them. Watch what they do when someone can't fight back. When someone makes a mistake. When someone is vulnerable. Do they pounce? Do they punish? Or do they hold space? Nietzsche believed real strength is shown through restraint, the ability to have power and choose not to use it. The person who can witness weakness without contempt has already won something most people spend their whole lives fighting for: inner peace. Truth 15, the hunger for attention is really a fear of invisibility. We all know someone who fills every room they enter. Every story is about them. Every moment becomes a stage. It looks like confidence, but Nietzsche saw it as something deeper, a terror of being forgotten, of living an entire life and leaving no trace. That hunger usually starts young, in a home where presence was earned, not given. The child who was overlooked grows into the adult who performs. They not asking for admiration. They asking not to disappear. When you see someone who is too much, ask what would happen to them if they were simply quiet. Sometimes the noise is the only thing standing between them and a feeling they can't name. Truth 16. Who they attack is often who they secretly want to be. This is one of the hardest truths to sit with. The person who viciously mocks someone successful isn't just being cruel. They in pain. Because watching someone live out a version of yourself you abandoned, or been told you not allowed to have, is its own kind of grief. So the attack isn't really about the target. It's about the attacker's own unlived life. Envy, Nietzsche understood, is unspoken desire. The soul saying, I want that, but I don't believe I deserve it. Seeing this in others makes you immune to petty criticism. Seeing it in yourself sets you free. Truth 17. Adults don't act from beliefs. They reenact childhood. The person who was never listened to becomes someone who constantly talks over others. The person punished for showing emotion becomes someone who reads as cold, distant, unreachable. The person who had to earn love keeps performing for it, even in relationships that should feel safe. They think they making choices, but they replaying scripts they didn't write. Old dynamics dressed in new situations. If you want to understand someone, don't just ask who they are. Ask who they had to be, because behavior is biography. And behind every complicated adult is a child still waiting to feel safe enough to just be themselves. Truth 18. Their patterns are a confession. Learn to listen. This is the final truth, and it's the one that changes everything. People don't always have the words for what hurts them, but they will show you, over and over, in the way they leave, the way they cling, the way they work themselves to exhaustion, the way they charm everyone but connect with no one. These aren't random habits. They confessions. They saying, this is how I learned to stay safe. This is where I was broken. This is what I am still afraid of. Nietzsche believed if you listen at the level of pattern rather than word, you can hear the truth before it's ever spoken. And when you can do that, something extraordinary happens. You stop taking things personally. You stop judging. You start understanding. You become a mirror instead of a weapon. Closing. Take a breath and look back at all 18 truths. You notice, they were never just about other people. Your own patterns are in there. Your own armor. Your own fears wearing other people's faces. The more clearly you see others, the more honestly you see yourself. That was Nietzsche's real intention, not to make you a better judge of people, but to make you a more awake version of yourself. Which of these 18 truths landed hardest for you? Comment below, let's talk about it honestly. And if this shifted something in you, subscribe. There's more where this came from. Because once you start seeing what's hidden, in others, in yourself, you can't go back to the surface.